had to pick up the intensity, the scoring, and play like a desperate basketball team. So to your question, I believe the Raptors are going to win game 2 because the Golden State Warriors are the road team. I think that they're hobbled, and I think the Toronto Raptors are just deeper, more physical. And you ready for this? They're just better. The Raptors are better.
But I'm asking you this question. The reason I asked you that question is because I need an explanation as to how somebody could look better in Game 7 and then 5 days later. I mean, it's not like you got injured in Game 7. You got injured. Oh, no, sorry, Game 6. I apologize. Game 6. It's not like you got injured in Game 3. So you hobbled your way through Games 3, 4, 5, and 6. You close out in Game 6 Saturday night, and you actually look worse after 5 days rest than you did in Game 6.
I hate to say it, and that's why I brought this point up. What ends up happening, Stephen A., is you go from the period of being hurt, where you feel like you can play through the pain, to getting closer to being injured. And that's what I saw yesterday. And this period of time between games 1 or 2, I guarantee you he's going to be getting a lot of treatment. I guarantee you they're going to try to make sure that he's at his optimum peak because they need game 2. If they're able to secure game 2, KD's going to come back during this series. But the problem is when he does, it's going to be too late. He'll come back like game 4. He'll come back like game 5. But the Raptors are already going to have a stranglehold on the series.
If KD comes back for too many games, they have too much firepower for anyone, I think. But Kawhi is the type of dude, just because he's quiet, don't get it bent. He takes the challenge. I was saying Kawhi Freak is going to see who the best player in the game is. And I thought the Greek Freak would be too much for him. He's too big. He's a bad matchup, physically, young, springy, the whole thing. And Kawhi thought, you saw Kawhi going, oh, that's the guy?
But that's what you're pointing to. You know what I'm pointing to? I'm pointing to Steve Kerr from opening tap. He was screaming at his guys, run, run, run. And I was like, yeah, they're bigger, so I understand. But it's almost like he said, this man, we got to run Kawhi. But then I remember what Doc Rivers said to me. When Doc Rivers said on national television last week, he said, look, man, you got a situation where you might, Magic said it, you might want to let Kawhi go off to keep everybody else cold.
But here's the thing about this is what I'm saying about Kawhi.
You might want to do that.
His shot wasn't falling because that's how I really saw the legs affecting him. The free throw shooting, the shot wasn't falling. He didn't.
But they were also doubling getting the ball out of his hands.
Even though that's true, but even though Kawhi shoots line drive, he gets the shooter's bounce a lot because without the legs, you're not going to get that. That's what happened. But I'll say this: they need to win Game 2 at home. Just because they won Game 1, it's got nothing to do with momentum. It has to do with defending home court. It is.
Jalen, I want to come.
Golden State's going to have to win a road game to win the series. It is too early in the series to give up home court.
Jalen, I want to come to you with my strategy. If the Warriors going to win Game 2, I believe you stay home. You don't double nobody. You let Kawhi. Listen to this. Listen to this. You guard Kawhi one-on-one. Let him eat you alive. Because guess what? With those secondary options, if you keep them cold, you don't let them get into a rhythm because they're busy. They get to a point where they're spectating, watching Kawhi Leonard eat somebody alive. That might be your best chance. What do you think about that?
That's a great theory, except it's a day late and $1 short.
Okay.
You should have did that in Game 1.
Okay.
He came out, he was hobbled. They blitzed him. They double-teamed him. They triple-teamed him.
Right.
And he actively just gave up the ball and allowed people to go to work.
Right.
In Game 2, if you stay home, now all of a sudden the great player gets you the game that you need that's really important on your home floor, and he erupts for 40 points, and you go up 2-0.
But I'm saying somebody like Magic and Doc was making the case that if he explodes, you still got a better shot at beating them because the supporting cast. That's what they're saying.
That's my point. So if you do that in Game 1, now we're sitting here saying Kawhi had 45 and the Raptors won, and nobody else did anything. But now in Game 2, those guys are already confident.
But what if you win Game 2 is what I'm saying. What if you win Game 2 by letting Kawhi explode but shutting everybody else out? What if you win that game that way? Golden State is still in a great position because it's 1-1. Going back to the Oracle.
I think it worked out perfectly for the Toronto Raptors.
Okay.
I think in Game 1, the way they were blitzing, the way they were trapping, the way they were basically leaving Marc Gasol open in the middle of the floor to eat. He had a couple of times he could have laid the ball up.
That's right.
He didn't even realize how open he was.
And open from 3, too, wide open.
And let's say all this. Let's say one other thing too. Pascal Siakam was the best player on the court
last night. That's right.
He was the best player. He got steals, he got blocks, he got dunks, he made threes, he got it in transition.
I think the big picture reason why that's not going to work with Kawhi is the reason he's the best player in the world. LeBron got to the place Kawhi got to. Wasn't there at first. Steph's not there. Harden is far from it. If you dare Kawhi to beat you, fate of the universe on the line, fourth quarter, clock ticking down, Kawhi will beat you. That he doesn't go away. In those big moments, Kawhi is at his best.
But that's not daring him.
If you dare that dude to beat you, he will do it.
That's not daring him to beat you. Like, for example, there's a reason why Phil Jackson asked MJ to defer and assist the other guys. There's a reason why Golden State has gone to 4 straight NBA Finals. When Mark Jackson was coaching them, obviously the exceptional job that he did in establishing the foundation, it was still a situation where he went to Steph Curry and the ball was always in his hands. Steve Kerr comes in and says, I need you to trust these other guys. And Steph Curry was a 2-time league MVP. With the ball being out of his hands, he ended up being more efficient. You look at LeBron, he was asked to trust. Kyrie, a little bit extra. You look at Kobe, when they won a championship second go-round without Shaq. Phil Jackson asked him to trust a little bit more. So you're doing the same if you ask Kawhi Leonard to do that.
What you're saying is it's coming back down to, even though they're so deep and they could just have a different hero to help Kawhi every night. What you're saying is, nope, make one dude on that team step up and be Robin. Siakam, can you do that every single game?
But game 1 is the game to do that. That's my point, because the Raptors role players are already confident. When Marc Gasol, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet all got in the car last night after the game, they felt good about themselves. So now if Kawhi come out and he's dominant in game 2,
but I got to challenge.
They understand it's really important for him to do that.
Jalen, you know basketball too well, too much to ignore the fact that there are plenty of teams who've won a game 1 and was feeling confident about themselves, and then all of a sudden things change.
Never a game 1 against the Warriors in the finals. This is the only time that's happened. So
and by the way,
but remember, they always had home court advantage.
Yes, exactly, and on the road for the first time.
They always had
of course, and that's part of it.
So it's all right. So it's all right to lose game 1 on the road.
All right, give it up for Jalen Rose. All right, Jalen, thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you Sunday at the game. Yeah, that's it.
That's all we got for Jalen Rose?
Yeah. Listen, I'm not the producer.
Man dropped 18.5 points a game for you guys.
When we come back, more First Take from Toronto here at Scotiabank Arena. Drake.